Hello, today we're going to talk about outliers and how to find what an outlier is in the data set. Before we do that, we have to look at interquartile range. The interquartile range is the distance between the first and third quartile, so we just subtract Q3 and Q1. Once we have the IQR, we have to multiply it by 1.5. Now, from that, we add it to Q3 and subtract it from Q1 to see what our acceptable range is. It's kind of tough to understand, so let's take a look at this first. So for the males here, the first thing we want to do is find our 5-number summary. Are there any outliers? What are the values for this data that will be produced? Well, that will produce outliers. Now that we have already learned how to find Q1 median, Q3 min max, I want to show you another way that you can do this. If you type your data in L1, a way to get multiple data sets is if you hit their data points, is if you hit stat, go over to calc, one variable stats and hit enter. And this is just list one that we're dealing with. So we'll calculate. Now, this is a bunch of data. You're not going to understand all of it yet, but this first one is your x bar or your mean. The S of x right here is your standard deviation. N is your number of data points. And then if we keep hitting down, we'll have our min, Q1, medium, Q3, and maximum. So we have all of this data right here. We'll just drag it to the screen. And now if we want to check to see if there is any outliers, the first thing we need to do is find our IQR. Our IQR is Q3 minus Q1, or that's 50 minus 27, which is 23. Now our rule said that we multiply that by 1.5. This is the piece that most people forget. 1.5 times 23 gets us to 34.5. So 1.5, 23, that's 34.5. Now we take this and we add it to our Q3 and subtract it from our Q1. So if I take 27 minus 34.5 and 50 plus 34.5, this is our acceptable range. So anything from, what would that be, negative 7.5 all the way up to 84.5. Any data between these two values is not an outlier. But if you look here, we have two data points that are outside of that. So 85 and 86 are considered outliers. Now take this data set and see if you can find the acceptable range for data pieces and see if there's any outliers in the data set.